Hey Rick, I was just checking in to see if you already made it home safe.
Hey, Tina, yeah, I just got back actually. Thanks for asking.
No, thank you so much for driving me all the way to my house and dropping me off there. I really appreciate it. I know that isn't exactly on the way home for you, so thanks again.
Oh, come on, you know that you don't need to thank me. Besides, I know that it would have been an hour-long trip for you if I hadn't.
You really are a gentleman. Do you know that, Rick? What would I do without you?
Aw, do you really mean that? I just figure I'm just doing what anyone with good manners would do. Besides, you're my girl. Of course I'm gonna look after you.
Well, I think I know a lot of people who wouldn't go so far out of their way to do the things that you do. And you've always been so kind to me ever since we met. I'm so happy that it wasn't just an act that dropped after we started dating.
Well, that would just be lying to you at that point, wouldn't it? Besides, my parents told me to always be polite and think about others when I can. So if you really want someone to thank, then go ahead and thank them.
Wow, do you really credit your parents with all of that? Well, if that's the case, then I guess I really do owe them some thanks.
I mean, obviously I'm being extra attentive to you because we're dating and all that, but yeah, that's how they raised me to be.
I'm just so happy that you and I are together, Rick. It really does make me happy. And to think that before long, you and I are finally going to be getting married. Although, if I can be honest with you, I'm also really nervous about it all.
Oh, come on, Tina, there's nothing to be nervous about at all. But if you're having second thoughts, then I can propose to you again so you can turn me down.
Don't you be silly. If you proposed to me again, I know that I'd make the same choice that I did the first time. Besides, I'm not nervous in that kind of way, more just nervous in general, you know what I mean? It's like, I still don't get how I ended up with such a lovely guy by my side. And to think that we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, it's a lot to take in.
Well, it's not like you don't do plenty for me, and I see how much you do care for those around you as well. That's what makes me like you. I don't think I've ever met anyone as sincere or caring as you, so I get being nervous. But more than anything, I'm just excited to be with you.
Oh, stop it. You're just texting me and you're already making me blush. You know just what to say, do you know that?
I'm honestly surprised that you're not sick of all the things I've said already, but I hope that you don't get sick soon because we've got a long future ahead of us.
I don't see how I could ever get sick of you in a million years, you silly man. And I certainly don't see how my feelings for you could ever change as well. I'm so happy that we both feel so strongly about each other.
You know, I really am grateful for you. I really do feel so lucky to have you.
Aw, grateful? But I didn't even do anything. What do you mean by that?
Well, we're only engaged and you're already okay with moving in with my parents. I would have thought that you wouldn't want to do that so soon after getting married.
Oh, it's really not a big deal. Besides, if I'm going to join your family, then it's only natural that I be there to help take care of them. After all, I do have 2 older brothers, so it's not like there isn't anyone to look after my own parents. And since you're the eldest child, I know that there's a lot of pressure on you to step up and be there.
Well, that is all true, but still, I really do want to say how thankful I am for you. And I want you to know that I'll always try and be there for you. And I know that my family is really excited to gain new members of the family. My parents already talk about you as their daughter.
Aw, well that's really sweet, but they have their own daughter too, of course.
Are you talking about my little sister? My parents were way too sweet on her, and now she's just so selfish. She's completely forgotten everything that everyone has done for her, and she just acts however she wants to with no regard for others.
Well, I'm sorry that things turned out that way, but I think it's only natural for parents to want to spoil their daughters. I just hope that you don't think I act spoiled after being doted on by my parents when I was younger.
Oh, you've got nothing to worry about at all, Tina. You're nothing like my sister at all, and my parents really are excited for us to get married.
Well, I'm really happy that we're getting so much support from your family. I promise to try and live up to their expectations of me and be the best daughter I can. Hey Rick, are you there? I really would like to talk to you about something. I'm pretty sure that your sister Lucy hates my guts.
Tina, what are you talking about? You mean my sister as in Lucy?
Well, you only have one sister, don't you? Of course I'm talking about her.
But I don't understand. Has something happened between you two? Where's this coming from all of a sudden?
Your sister sent me a message just now, and she basically was asking me not to get married to you.
Wait, what? She really said that to you? What is the matter with her? Why would she do that?
I don't know. I don't know if I did something to her or screwed up. But it seems like she really hates me if she doesn't want you and I to end up together.
Well, I really don't think that you need to pay that message any mind at all, okay? I really am so sorry about Lucy, but if I'm being honest, I didn't even know that you two had each other's numbers.
Yeah, well, when our families all met each other after our engagement, that's when I gave her my number. I really thought she asked because she wanted to try and be friends with me.
Oh, I see. I really had no idea about any of this.
But Lucy actually moved out of your parents' house recently, isn't that right? Last time I went there, she wasn't home at all, and I didn't see any of her things.
Yeah, she found a new job a few months ago and moved out when she started it. She hasn't even been back to visit ever since. It's like she found a source of income and forgot all about her family who's been getting her there this whole time. I really have no idea how she got to be so rude.
I see. Well, I was just really hoping that I'd be able to win your sister over. But instead, she turned around and demanded that you and I break up instead.
Tina, please don't pay my sister any mind at all, okay? She's just selfish and jealous of you, and you shouldn't have to put up with any of it. Honestly, she's acting like a brat if you ask me. Don't you worry, I'll go and talk to her about this.
Will you really do that for me? I know that you two are pretty close. Just please tell her that I only want to be friends with her. I don't think I can talk to her about this like this, though.
Well, I'll tell her, but of course, it's not good to try and force these things. But I want you to know that my parents and I really do care about you. So whatever my sister says, just please know that it's not how we all feel about you, okay?
But are you really sure that we should even be getting married if your sister is so against it?
I think that you don't need to worry yourself about her at all, okay? Her opinion on us getting married means nothing. This is just between you and I, and we love each other, and we want to get married.
You're right. I know that we both want that. Thank you for talking me through this, Rick. But I still have no idea why it might be that your sister even feels that way about me. I really don't know what I could have done.
I wouldn't waste your time trying to figure out that, but who knows why my sister acts the way she does. If I were you, I would just block her number and leave it at that. It would have probably been best if you'd never given her your number in the first place.
Hey, Lucy, are you there? I'd really like to chat with you if that's okay. Oh, well, if it isn't Tina. And here I thought that you decided to block my number. Well, your brother did tell me to block you and try to avoid you. But I didn't want to do that without giving this one more try, so I decided I wouldn't for now. Oh, I see. Well, I guess I should be just so thankful that you're giving me one last chance. But what is it that you want to talk to me about? Well, I know that you aren't really excited at all for Rick and I to be getting married, right? I mean, you left that really mean letter at my house the other day and told me that I needed to call off the wedding. That was your letter, wasn't it? Yes, it was my letter. Did you show what I wrote to your parents? Yeah, I showed them the letter and we all read it together. Well, good. I'm sure your parents are just as worried as I am about not letting this wedding happen. Hold on a second. You mean that you wanted me to show my parents the letter? Of course. I figured if I could get your parents to be against it, then we might finally be able to put a stop to this thing. But I still don't understand why you wouldn't want me to marry your brother. And just how did you even know where I live anyways? How did you know my parents' address? You remember when our families met each other, right? Well, I asked them for their address then, and I told them I wanted it to send them a Christmas card. But I take it that this was really your intention the whole time? Trying to get that letter to my parents? But I just can't understand it. Why are you so against your brother and I getting married? There's nothing good that's going to come from you two getting married, so just please break up with my brother already. Lucy, look, I want you to stop trying to butt into my marriage, okay? I understand that you're against it and you're not supportive of it, but we are going to get married, and that's that. Well, if that's the case, then I'll just have to keep interfering until you don't, until you finally change your mind and leave him. But why? Why can't you just give me a reason for doing all of this? Do you really hate me that much? What did I do to deserve all of this? Why do you insist on acting this way? Don't you realize that my whole family only has your worst interests at heart? You just need to go and never come back. What does that even mean, though? You're not making any sense at all, Lucy. I am talking about the fact that my family has tricked you, and my brother is just pretending to be kind to you. But that's not the kind of person that he really is, so please just leave and never come back. I'm sorry, Lucy, I just can't understand at all why you're being like this. Do you really think that your whole family is lying to me? Because I find that very hard to believe coming from you and in light of how you've been treating me. Well then, how about I show you some of the messages that my family have been sending to each other about you? Then you might finally see that I'm doing this for you. But I am telling you that this wedding is a bad idea, and you need to call it all off as soon as you can. Run and never come back. I am not going to do anything until you explain just what in the world you're talking about. You haven't even told me what it is that I'm supposed to be scared of. You don't understand. I was only able to escape from there a few months ago. I hate my family, and I had been wanting to leave for years before then. I heard that you moved out because you had found a job or something like that. Yeah, they would say something like that. But the truth is that I was being held there against my will and treated like a servant. They made me do all the housework and exploited me for years, but I know they've been waiting for someone else to come along, and then you did.
Hey Tina, you there? You know that we have a meeting for our wedding at 1, right? I was gonna pick you up from your place around noon.
Oh, don't bother. You don't need to come anymore.
Oh, what's up? Did you find a different way to get there, or are you already in town or something like that?
No, nothing like that. I'm not going to go to this meeting, and that's that.
I see. Are you feeling sick or something? I can move the meeting to another day if you want.
No, I don't think that's going to be necessary either, Rick. Go ahead and cancel the meeting because the wedding is off.
Wait, what? What do you mean the wedding is off? Is this some kind of a joke or something like that?
I am being very serious, Rick. I don't want to marry you anymore. Do you understand?
But where is this coming from all of a sudden? Did I do something wrong? Did I make you unhappy?
You didn't make me unhappy, Rick, but I do have to say that I am massively disappointed in you.
I'm sorry, but I really don't know what I did wrong. Whatever it is, though, I really do apologize for it.
Oh, I'm afraid this isn't something that can be solved with a mere apology.
Well then, what is it? What makes you want to call off our wedding?
I know the truth. I've heard it all from Lucy.
You were talking to Lucy? What did she end up telling you to make you act this way?
She told me that you were looking for someone to replace her as a servant for your house.
A servant? I'm sorry, Tina, but I'm really not following any of this at all. What do you mean by that?
I know that you had been keeping Lucy in your house against her will for all this time. She told me all about how you all treated her like nothing more than some kind of servant for the house. And that's why she finally decided to run away from home and escape you all. But you thought it was going to be okay because you still had me, right?
Okay, now hold on. I have no idea what my sister has been telling you, but you have to know that you can't trust her. Besides, I thought I told you to block her.
Oh, I doubted her the whole time until she showed me proof. She showed me messages your family have been sending to each other. I couldn't believe what I was reading. You all treated poor Lucy so horribly. It's no wonder she wanted to run away. But she also showed me messages where you all talked about gaining me as a replacement for her.
Look, all families have their issues, but you know that Lucy is really unwell, and it is not nearly as bad as it sounds. Besides, are you really gonna take her word over mine? Do you really think that we said all those things to her?
I think that it's your fault Lucy was always trying to make me get away. She didn't want me to end up like her. And that's why you and I aren't getting married anymore, Rick.
Please, Tina, you have to listen to my side of the story too. I mean, don't you know how much I love you? You know that I would never do anything to hurt you.
I'm sorry, but you're not going to change my mind, and I believe what your sister has told me.
But why? Why don't you believe what I'm trying to tell you?
Because I told you that she showed me the texts where you were talking about me as well. Lucy was trying to warn me away from you all this whole time, and then she finally made me understand why.
I'm the one telling you this is all one big mistake. Can't we just meet in person and try and talk this out? Please, just come over and we'll smooth things out.
I never want to see you or your family again. In fact, I left my house yesterday, so don't even bother going there either.
But then, where are you right now?
I'm not going to tell you. I ran away to get away from you and your family. Don't you get it?
Run away? Tina, that really hurts. You're acting as if we're in some kind of a disaster or something like that.
Your whole family sounds like a disaster now that I know the truth. I never, ever want to see any of you ever again.
Tina, please listen to me. I promise you I'm not going to let anything bad happen to you. You have to trust me.
I did trust you, Rick. I trusted you up until your sister showed me the truth of you and your family. What are you doing? You seriously need to chill out or else I'm going to call the cops.
Do you think this is some kind of a game or something? You better open this door right now.
I am not going to open the door at all. Don't be mad just because your parents threw you out.
I refuse to accept this. You can't just break up with me. It's not fair.
Rick, I am seriously warning you. You better settle down out there or else. You are causing a scene for the whole neighborhood. Don't you realize that? And would you please quit kicking things out there?
I'm not gonna stop until you come out here and talk to me face to face, and I mean it. I want to see you this instant.
Why in the world do you think I would come out and talk to you when you're acting the way you are? But you should know that I'm recording you right now and I'm going to show your coworkers. Not only that, I'm going to send this video to everyone on our guest list. And then they'll all understand why it is that I wanted to call off our wedding. It'll be much faster than explaining it to them over words.
You better not do that. I swear, if anyone sees the video that you're taking, I am gonna make you pay. This is between you and I, and that is all.
Why? I think everyone deserves to know the kind of person that you really are. After all, you lie to everyone you meet about being so kind and caring when really you're just nothing but a liar. Besides, after what you put poor Lucy through, I think you deserve this.
Why are you even bringing her into this? Why are you taking her side over mine?
Why wouldn't I be taking her side over yours? She's the only one who had the decency not to lie to me. If I married you, then my life would have been a living hell. She saved me from you all.
Just please delete the video, okay? I'm begging you. Please don't show it to anyone. I can't let people see this side of me. Besides, I just lost my cool a little, okay? That's all. It happens to everyone.
Oh, please, I know who you really are, and I am not going to let you get away with fooling anyone else. You really are just how your sister warned me.
Look, just please don't call the cops or tell anyone about this, okay? I know I broke some stuff out here, but I promise to pay for it all.
I'm afraid that the police are already on their way right now, Rick.
You mean you already called them? Don't you realize what this is gonna do to my reputation?
Oh, you're not even going to have a reputation once I'm done with you. But this is what you get for making your sister live in fear.
Please, you don't know what this is gonna do to me. You're gonna ruin me for the rest of my life.
Well, good. Then maybe you can finally think about the pain that you've caused Lucy and all the years you stole from her life, too. And you can also reflect on all the people that you've lied to and tricked into thinking that you were kind. It's too late. I've made up my mind, so just go home. On their way over, the police picked up Rick, who had tried to leave my house before they showed up. They arrested him for destruction of property and trespassing. The charges were light, but he did end up paying for all the damage he caused. I made sure to let everyone know that the man who was causing all the trouble was my ex-fiancé. After his company found out, Rick was demoted and sent to an office far, far away. But even then, the video I had taken of Rick and sent to his company had even made it to the branch office. I had the court put a restraining order on Rick as well, so I haven't heard from him in months. I do still keep in touch with Lucy, however, and she is doing much better now that she's out of the house and working. She apologized for the way she treated me, but said she didn't know how to convince me to leave without putting herself at risk while at home. I told her that I understood and that I certainly wasn't going to hold it against her now. If anything, I was so grateful that she was brave enough to tell me the truth when she did. As for me, it's been tough getting over being lied to the way I was, but at least I was spared the fate I would have had if I did end up marrying Rick. I've decided to stay away from the dating pool for now and focus on myself. I know one day I'll be ready to open myself up again for the kind of romantic connection that I'm looking for. But that's not all life is about, and I've got quite a bit to process. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.
Riley, in place of your father, I've gone ahead and sent the money over for your child support.
Thank you, Grandma. Dad will be back from his trip in 2 months, right?
Yes, it appears so. He really has such a tough job to do. He has to be away from his house all the time, and he's so busy that you can't even get a response out of him for small lengths of time. I'm sorry that it's so hard to stay in touch with him, Riley.
He has a really cool job, but it is a very tough one. But don't worry, Grandma. I understand his situation. And also, we both made a promise that the moment he gets back, we'll get together. He told me that he'd take me out for some really good dinner at the place of my choosing.
But right now you're busy studying for your exams, right? Aren't you a bit too busy to be doing things like that?
When he's back in town, I'll take the day off to see him. I don't need to study every single day of my life for this exam, right?
Well, as long as you're feeling confident. But you being that confident is all thanks to the time and effort you've already been putting in at school. That's really paid off for you so far. You are such a great kid.
Actually, I really want to work a job like Dad does. So that's why I've been paying good attention in school and know a lot of things. I still have ways to go yet, but someday I want to be the person anyone can rely on.
Well, in my eyes, even now I think of you as someone I can rely on for anything. So just make sure you're not working yourself too hard or something you already have. You told me before that you stayed out really late studying for one of your tests in history, right?
Well, that's just the amount of studying I needed to do for that test. I have trouble sometimes remembering things like names and locations in history. I also had to work my part-time job that day, so that's what led me to coming home really late.
What? You're working part-time now?
Well, occasionally.
But you're only months away from your exams, right? Can you at least clear your schedule of work until after you've taken all of them?
I can't, though. I have to balance things out for myself, so don't worry. Also, I kind of need the money. There's something I've been really wanting.
Something you've been wanting? You can't just buy it with the allowance you're already getting?
It's a secret, actually.
If it's something that you really want, then I guess I can't stop you from working towards it. But just make sure not to overdo it, okay? It's only you and your mom right now, so you've been having to help out with chores around the house, right?
Grandma, I'm totally fine. I've been doing the chores around the house for a long time now. And doing things like this now will get me used to what life will be like living on my own.
But the fact that you're doing so much right now is what's worrying me. I know I'm always saying this to you, but if you ever find yourself in need of help, don't be afraid to come to me. And at times when you're not able to get in touch with your father, you can come talk to me about it.
Okay, thank you, Grandma. But you are aware that I'm in my senior year of high school, right? So you can really calm down about all of this and know I have myself handled.
Well, to me, even your father is still a child and needs my care at times. Which means that you are still a baby to me.
Come on now. You're the only one that still thinks of me as some kind of toddler. Everyone else seems to think of me in another way, calling me one of the most adult-like teens they've ever met.
It's fine for me to think of you as a child still, right? Because really, in my eyes, you are the same little Riley I've always known. And that's because you are still so dang cute to me. Anyway, me being this worried about you is only because I have to live so far away from you now.
Thank you so much, Grandma. But I really have everything handled in my life, and I'm totally fine. If anything, you need to start worrying about yourself more than me, right? I heard from Dad a few weeks ago that you went for a little hike and ended up falling down hurting your ankle pretty badly, right?
I can't believe he'd talk with you about something like that. I just happened to not see the root sticking out of the ground in front of me and I caught my foot on it. I'm completely fine now.
Well, if that's the case, then fine. But you know that it's only going to get colder this month, so please make sure not to catch any colds, all right?
Okay. And the same thing goes for you, Riley. Make sure you're staying really warm and are taking hot showers when needed. Tiffany, I was very surprised by what just happened. You came over here, right?
Judith, I'm sorry that I didn't really say anything to you a second ago when we crossed paths.
No, you don't have to be sorry about that. You happened to be with someone else at the time. That was someone from work, right? Something like that?
Yes, that's absolutely right. I am on a small business trip right now, and that's why I'm back in town around here.
That's what I had assumed. Well, anyway, I've been talking with Riley quite a bit, but are you doing all right for yourself, Tiffany?
Yeah, I'm making it work. It's been a long time since things happened between your son and I, and well, I'm getting used to being a single parent. And Riley's gotten a lot bigger now. And of course, having you around to help out with her has helped me a lot as well.
Riley's really become one of the smartest, most mature people I've ever met. That just shows how well you've been raising her, Tiffany.
And you don't have to say things like that.
I understand things are a lot tougher than when it's just you in the house taking care of your daughter, but I really am thankful that a woman like you has been there to raise my beautiful granddaughter.
And the same thing goes for me. Thank you for always being there to talk with Riley when she needs it.
Now that we're talking about her, she had told me something earlier this week. Is she really working a part-time job right now?
Ah, right. Yes, she is.
I'm a little bit worried about her putting some of her time into something like that when she has some really big exams coming up here soon. Riley told me that having a part-time job and all that has helped her learn to balance her time and whatnot, and that she needs the money to buy something she's been wanting. But really, I want her to be more focused on her exams for the time being, until she's finished taking all of them. Tiffany, do you have any idea what Riley's been wanting to buy? If it's something she needs a bit of money for, then I'd be glad to lend some.
No. You don't have to be worried about that. The thing that Riley's been wanting is something that really doesn't affect her life in any way.
Is that right? But she told me it's something she's not able to afford with her allowance. So it must be something really expensive.
The girl's in her senior year of high school, right? By this point, I'm sure that she has a lot of other girls in her grade have all kinds of brand name clothing and goods. I think that Riley herself probably wants a bag or something, and that's why she's saving up.
Wow, so she's really started to get into wanting high-end brands now.
The kids these days are all loaded with all sorts of branded things. From backpacks to pencil cases, it's wild. I'm not sure if they're buying them with their own money or if it's from their parents spoiling them, but even the girls that Riley hangs out with a lot happen to have some really nice bags.
I guess she is a young woman now, and when they get to that age, they really start to find interest in things like that. I'm just a bit surprised that someone like Riley would want something as expensive as a brand bag or whatnot. I always assumed that she never really cared about those sorts of things.
Well, with the world we're living in now, people are constantly talking about branded things online on all forms of social media. There are even girls her age acting as influencers, trying to get other people to join in on buying the same things they have. She's had a lot of chances now to see things like that, and I'm sure that's all playing a huge part.
Huh? Times have really changed.
Naturally, from the point of view of parents, we know that as our kids get into their teens, they are going to want more and more expensive things. Of course, if they are willing to work for their own money to get those things, I have no right stopping them. So that means, in Riley's case, you really don't have to lend her any money to go out and buy things like that.
That's right. I guess with the way things are now, it's best that I let her handle her own money, instead of having me hand mine over to her. But she really does have some very important exams coming up here, so is it really okay for her to be working when she needs to be studying?
She's working because she wants to, so you can let it be now. If her working that part-time job leads to her failing the exams, then that's on her, right?
Well, if that's what you're fine with, I won't make any comments on it. But just know that right now is the most important time for her to be studying for those exams. And with the college she's wanting to aim for, it's a hard place to get into, and most other people who plan to go there are already doing cram school and things like that when they get out of class for the day. I'm just worried Riley hasn't been taking this whole thing as seriously as she should be.
If Riley is telling you that she's fine, then I think that's good enough reason to believe in what she's saying. She's a very smart girl and knows how to handle things like this.
Of course, this isn't about me not believing in her or anything like that.
Judith, you're being a bit too worrisome about all this. We have rules over at my house as well when it comes to things like studying for big tests, and know that Riley is following all of them. Also, that girl wants to work part-time right now.
I'm sure that's the case. I'm really sorry, Tiffany. I think I may have talked far too much on this topic now.
No worries. I understand that you are a little anxious about how things are going for Riley. But that girl has made up her mind on what she wants to do, and there's no changing that. No matter what I've tried saying to her, she's told me she's not quitting that job.
That's true. All right, then. If that's something that Riley really wants to be doing at this point in time, I'm not going to do anything more to try and stop her. As for yourself, you haven't had anything you've been worried about recently, right? Nothing troubling you, perhaps?
Nothing that I'm aware of. Right now, things feel like they're going as they should be.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm sorry for taking up a lot of your time talking about things today. It was nice seeing you earlier, even if it was only for a second.
No, thank you for texting me today.
Well then, good luck with whatever work you have left on this small business trip of yours. Make sure you're taking good care of your health as well, all right?
Grandma, I finished all my exams.
Good work, Riley. How are you feeling now that the tests are all over with?
Well, I'm feeling like I did a really good job on all of them. But who knows, right? I really hope I didn't make any stupid mistakes on any of the questions.
I think that you did your very best this time, Riley. I'm sure even your teachers have been telling you that you're a really great student and that you never make stupid mistakes anymore, right?
They do say things like that, but this time was different. I mean, everyone taking these exams have all studied to some degree. But no matter how much someone studies for these exams, there is always room for a thoughtless mistake to ruin it all. Well, after taking all those exams, I've just lost a little bit of my confidence.
But even if you make one or two mistakes that lead to you failing the exam, the world's not over, right? You can always do a retake at the end of the day.
No, I can't.
Huh? Are you not planning to retake the exams if you fail one of them?
Well, it costs a lot of money to have to go and study some more for a test like that.
But your father or I can help you pay.
But I really don't want to force either of you to have to keep paying for my education like that.
But you are my granddaughter, so I will do anything for you and never see it as a problem.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure. You've never once caused me any kind of trouble, and needing financial help for your future is something I'm completely fine with doing for you. You are very, very important to me, Riley. I understand that I'm living far away from you now, but I will do anything in my power to help you out. I'm always saying things like this, right? When you're in trouble, you can always come and talk to me.
Grandma? Actually, I've been wanting to ask something from you for a very long time now.
Ask something from me? What is it?
Grandma, could you please pay my tuition so that I can go to college? Of course, this is only if I get a good enough score on my exams and end up being accepted. But if I am accepted, it'll be around $40,000 for the first year there. Of course, I'll continue to work myself while going to school, and will use that money I earn to pay you back slowly. But Grandma, I really, really, really want to go to college. And especially this one that I've had on my mind.
What are you talking about? We have been giving your mother money this whole time to help pay for you when you go to school. I'm sure it won't be able to cover all the costs, but she herself has been working a job all this time and should have been saving up for you, right? I feel that I've at least given her enough money to support you going to school for a year or two, right?
What? My mom told me she never received that kind of money.
Ah, well that's because when it comes to paying for college, it costs a large amount of money. I put it all into her bank account and not into yours.
But she's never told me anything about that money.
Perhaps she's forgotten to tell you about it or something? I know that she's been a very busy woman herself, so maybe she's totally forgotten that you need to know about the money now.
I don't think that's the case. She would have never been saying the things she said to me if she's received money from all of you for me to go to school. She's been telling me for a year now that the only way I'm going to college is if I pay for it myself.
What? She told you that?
That's why I've been working so hard to study both for my exams and work a part-time job.
So the thing that you've been wanting wasn't some expensive bag, but tuition for school?
An expensive bag? I don't really care about branded clothing or bags, Grandma.
But your mother told me something like this when I asked her a few months ago.
Mom said that? That's a freaking lie! Aren't you aware that my mom likes to say things like that in order to make herself look good? I think that Mom has been using all that money you and Dad gave her for me on herself.
Are you sure? Your mother would never do something like that, right?
Grandma, my mom is that kind of selfish woman. The reason Dad had to divorce Mom is because Mom did a lot of bad things to him.
You're telling me that it was her fault for the divorce? I heard from her that it was just due to both of them not wanting the same things in marriage any longer.
I think her and Dad were just saying that to keep you out of all of it. The real reason Dad left her is because she had been cheating on him with another man.
Tiffany cheated on my son? Are you sure?
Yes. I'm sorry for telling you all this horrible stuff after not hearing about it ever. Dad had been doing his best to hide it from you, and now I've gone and spilled it.
You don't have to worry about your parents' secret. I am a little shocked by all of this, but that all happened years ago, so there's nothing I can do about it now. And the reason you went and told me just then is because you've been working so long to hide all of that from me, right?
Yes.
But we can't forget what your mother did back then. Right now, we need to focus on the fact that your mother has been using your college funds all for herself. I trusted your mother every time I handed that money off to her. To hear that she's been using it all for herself this whole time?
It's just not the school money that she's been using up either. She's even been using up all the child support you've been giving her.
Huh? What do you mean? That money I've been giving directly to you from your dad, right?
I'm so sorry, Grandma.
What? Why are you sorry? What happened between you and your mother?
There is something else I've been hiding from you.
Hello, Tiffany.
Judith, what's been going on with you?
This is about your daughter. Starting today, she is going to be living with me in my house.
Huh?
She's pretty much finished going to high school now, right? And after talking with all her teachers at school, they gave her permission to do her last few days online from here. I'll be taking her to school on the day of her graduation, so there's no need to worry about her missing that in person.
Can you tell me what the heck you're talking about right now? I'm sorry, but I really have no idea what all of this is about.
Are you really sure you have no idea what this could all be about?
Yeah.
I have been giving you money to save up for when Riley went to college, right?
Yes. And I made sure to put that into a special savings account for her.
Well, even while you've had that money from myself and my son, you've told Riley that she has to pay for her tuition all by herself? And that's the reason for why Riley's had to work a part-time job this whole time, right?
You have to understand, I've never had any reason to say something like that to her. Was Riley the one that told you all that herself? Judith, I think that Riley had just gone and lied to you.
And why would Riley ever want to lie to her grandma about something like that?
I'm sure she just wants you to start giving her money. She probably feels that if she can get you to believe her, you'll be the easiest way for her to get loads of money.
Tiffany, I've already heard about everything regarding you and that school money for Riley. And it hasn't just been that money, right? You've even been stealing the child support that we've been giving to Riley every month, haven't you?
Please do not say things like that about me when you've only heard them from a child. I have been using that child support to make sure that she's raised properly. What's wrong with me taking that money from her anyway? I'm her mom, and I think I have the right to the money that the court said I deserve each month.
But you haven't even used a penny of that child support on Riley, right? You use all that money on yourself thinking that you deserve it, not her. Riley has to pay for everything herself. She has to pay for her own smartphone, for her own clothing, for her own utensils for school. And it's all paid for by that part-time job she's been working.
She's been a high schooler for 4 years now. I have to have her pick up some of the slack in this house. I'm a single parent, and I have been for years and years.
Did you know that the only reason my son and I have been paying child support for Riley still is because he never knew she had a part-time job? That was a part of the conditions signed in court even, given by the judge. As long as she's not working, you guys will receive child support. Strange that you've still been getting money from us when she's working for herself now.
It's a really tough and tight life having to live with only the two of us here.
I heard from Riley that you're barely even working a job yourself, though. And before, when you came to town where we ran into one another for a split second, that wasn't for work, was it? I've been told you came back into town to go out on a date with your current lover.
You have it all wrong.
Well, if this is how things have been, then I'd like the money I gave you for Riley to go to school right now.
You want that money back right now?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, but I can't give you all that money back.
But I thought you said it was all in a separate bank account meant for her. So you've gone and used it all?
Actually, I was fired from my job. And because of that, I wasn't able to afford all the necessities in our house. I'm sorry.
You really are full of these bullcrap excuses, aren't you? I'm going to have a lawyer get in touch with you and get all my money back. And of course, along with that, you'll no longer be receiving any child support from us.
You can't do that to me. That's a huge problem.
I told you that Riley will be over at my house now, living with me, so there's no need for you to get any more money to raise her, right? Child support is only received and used for the sake of the child, of whom you no longer have under your roof anymore.
I'm the one with custody of her, though. Without my approval, you won't be allowed to have her move into your house with you.
Tiffany, do you remember how old Riley is now? She's already turned 18. And according to the law, once someone becomes the age of 18, they have the right to decide on where to live and what to do with their life. It's up to Riley now on how she wants to live her life as an adult.
Hold on for 1 second, though. Riley is already over at your house right now? Let me have a word with her, please.
Riley's told me she no longer wants to talk with you anymore. She must feel as though you just want to threaten her or something now, right? I'm getting that sort of feeling from you myself as well. Riley's already told me about how she's not even related to her own father by blood.
She's gone and told you that now as well?
Yes, she has. I've heard all about it. You and her had a bad fight a while back, right? Over the child support we'd been putting into her account? And when she was not giving you the money you kept asking for, you yelled that she's probably not even related to my son by blood, right? I'm aware that you have even been keeping that fact from us as your ace in the hole, right? That if my son or I stopped sending you money for Riley, you'd threaten us by saying she's not even related to us and that you could take her away at any moment. I know that you already said that to her, and that's what forced her to keep working part-time because she was afraid of never getting to see her dad and I ever again. But listen here, that sort of thing isn't going to fly anymore.
You're wrong. That is all a bunch of crap from Riley. Judith, can you please just believe me here?
Why the hell should I believe any of the things you want to say? The fact that you're not even going to hand me all of her school money back right now tells me all I need to know about the truth surrounding you. And just to make sure I covered everything, I had someone investigating you these past few days. You seem to leave your house quite a lot for someone with no job. Going out to play all the time instead of doing the chores? I guess you really haven't given a single crap about your daughter, have you?
Riley is a senior in high school now, though. She doesn't need me around to live her life anymore.
That's 100% correct. She does not need you around anymore to live her own life. And that's why she is no longer going to be living under your roof any longer. Also, things have been this way ever since you had that divorce with my son, right? You're telling me that you've been leaving the house all day and skipping out on chores ever since Riley was in her first year of middle school? I hate that. How could I have never noticed any of that going on with you guys?
Judith, please. I don't mind letting Riley live over there with you. But can you at least give me child support every month? Or at least find some way to hand me some money for a couple more years?
How much more money do you need before you'll shut the hell up? Riley's been living on her own ever since 6th grade. And that whole time, she was left having to support herself, especially when it came to money. Food, water, electricity. If a 6th grader can start dealing with all that at her age, then you are more than capable of handling your own life now. I also know about what your plans were for her next. You never wanted her to leave for college because you planned to have her live with you in that house for the rest of your life, also that she could be like your mother.
I never wanted something like that.
Well, who cares now? I want all that money I handled you for her schooling back. And along with that, you are never to come around Riley ever again.
Let me come and see her right now. At least let her text me. I will apologize to her. I want to apologize to her. Just give me a few minutes with her and I promise to make things right. She hasn't been talking to me for days now, so please.
Riley's told me she doesn't want to talk to you nor see you, so it's over. Riley never happens to change her mind once it's been made up, right? She's the kind of girl you'll never be able to stop, so just leave it. You were the one saying things like that to me months ago about her, right? After that, I had a lawyer that I got in touch with go over to Tiffany's house and start laying out all the details as to why and when to get me all that money back I gave her for Riley's college. And, well, after a few days, Tiffany's parents decided to step in on her behalf and give me the money I was owed. From this, we also learned that this whole time, Tiffany's parents have been giving her money to take care of herself after losing her job. But when they both found out about what was going on, they told her she would never have their support again. With no more money coming in anymore and the inability to pay rent, Tiffany ran away from her house and went off to the house of her new partner. But it turns out that the man she'd been with for some time wasn't as serious about things as she was, so he kicked her out of his house. She then turned to staying in a hotel for a little bit, and during this time she sent a text to her ex-husband. And in that text, sounding like the most spoiled witch on this planet, she asked him if he would start sending her some money again to help her out. Of course, my son said no to that request before blocking her number for good. But my God, was that the most stupid thing I'd ever heard about from my son. I cannot believe that a girl in high school was able to work enough to make money to support herself somewhat, but a full-grown woman who should have a job and everything wasn't able to do a thing for herself. I don't care at all what happens with Tiffany after all this, but I want to make sure that she never comes around my granddaughter and her father ever again. As for Riley, she happened to pass all her exams and was accepted into the college of her dreams, and is at this moment getting really excited about becoming a college student. For her to get to that school, it only takes about 30 minutes on foot from my house, so I'm glad to say that she'll be staying with me in this house while she's attending. And when it comes to my son, he's coming back now from his long business trip out of state and has been crying for days about hearing everything that had been going on with Riley and her mother. He's been apologizing to her about it, but only to be apologized back to by Riley, as she feels bad for never telling him the truth about what had been going on in her mother's house. During that whole week, these two cried a whole lot, and it was to the point that even I began to cry about it all. There was one other thing that came out of all this, and that was the relation Riley has to her father. Tiffany had made it seem as though she wasn't his real child, and that started to make Riley very worried about everything, so because of that, they both took a DNA test. Nobody really knows if Tiffany was telling the truth or not about that, as she could have been with any number of other men while with my son. But if it were to turn out that she wasn't my son's daughter, he told her that he'd love her just the same as he's always loved her. When the results had come back from that test, it was found that she really is related to her father. And when seeing that, the both of them began to cry again. As of right now, we're all living under my roof again as my son has sold his house to be able to send Riley to college. And as a family all under my roof again, my son and I are going to make sure that Riley is treated to the life she deserved at her mother's house, but never got. And even after she's out of college, I want her to know that she'll always have a place in my house, no matter what.
Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.